Hey there guys, Jason back. And hot on the heels of the recent announcement of the now named Nintendo Switch, I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a talk about it. So, if you've been watching anything on my channel, you'll know that I am, quite honestly, a pretty diehard Nintendo fan. I mean, I love all video games, but Nintendo is sort of where I got my start. I mean, the first, big experience that I had with Nintendo was, I think I was turning 7 or 8, and it was Christmas time, and I remember getting a huge box that my parents had gotten me. I think they bought it off of one of their friends who had Nintendo and the Power Pad and a whole bunch of games, and so I was super excited. It was my very first actual console that was mine. So, I mean, Nintendo's been with me for a long time. I mean, if you look over there, I've got, my Nintendo neon sign. And most of the content that's been on my channel has been, Nintendo, Pokemon related in some way, shape, or form. So, I mean, it's very clear that the Switch is something that I would definitely follow. So, before, I mean, it was announced, this morning. The NX as I knew it then. I mean, it definitely, excited me, but I mean, there was leaks everywhere, and now finally knowing what it actually is, for the most part, I mean, it's just a glimpse, not the full picture, but it kind of leaves me with a few more questions, and I wanted to make this sort of video today, but I also kind of wanted to wait too. I spent a lot of time today absorbing other information from other people's videos, so if I'm saying things that has been already said before, you'll have to excuse that fact, but I've also been wanting to talk to other people, because I worked at GameStop tonight, and I kind of wanted to talk to my coworkers about it. The first thing that they said when I walked in was, "Hey, you see it?" I'm like, "Who do you think I am?" Of course I saw it, but no, we actually got into a pretty good discussion about it, and I've heard really, really good points. I mean, I think the big thing for people is, I mean, how much is it going to cost? What sort of power does it have? How good is the screen resolution going to be when it's not on the dock? And when it is on the dock, what sort of power are we looking at? I mean, it's things like, is the resolution going to be, 720 like the Wii U? Is the resolution going to be 1080 like they said that the specs of a similar chipset that NVIDIA does for what is it, the Android TV or something like that? A similar tablet type device. So, and then there's the question of when it's on the actual dock, is it going to have things like 4K streaming? I mean, are the games going to be native 4K, or are they going to be upscaled? So, I mean, there's questions like that, and technically speaking, I mean, yes, that's good things to know, but honestly, I think that too many people get lost in tech, and all the what was it, the gigaflops or teraflops that people talk about now between the Xbox One and the PS4. But honestly, it's I don't understand those very well. I have never been a computer person, so I don't understand necessarily the difference between chipsets and just components and who makes the components and everything like that. So it's I'm trying to build a PC myself to help me with my YouTube stuff, but I don't understand a word of it, so every time that I go into looking at a piece, I have to do super heavy research. But when it comes to this, it's my only concern is, what does the system do? I mean, will it do what it promises, and how well does it do it? And the other thing of, does it have the games that I want to play? So, first off, let me just say that what I saw in the trailer was actually very positive. I think the trailer was done very well, and I think it got its point across very concisely in that 3 minutes and 37 seconds that it was, as to what this system is, what it does, basically what it's capable of, and that's it. So it basically shows you he's playing on it with a controller, and then he separates the two halves of the controller and puts them on the system, and then goes outside. You can then play two people on certain games with one half of the controller each on that one screen. You can go meet people and then play multiplayer with those two systems together. And I mean, it's just, then there's the stand on the back of it that allows you to sort of stand with the controllers one in each hand and just have the thing sitting there in front of you. I mean, it's that overall is what the system is. It is a home console that you can take elsewhere with you. And it's not even so much as turning it off and taking it with you. It's quite literally picking it up off the dock and then just leaving. It's just it interests me a lot. Like, I am very excited about this, but at the same time, like, I do have a few questions, and I know that these bits of information that I'm asking will get released, and I'll probably talk about that too. Like, I don't really want to make a habit of doing like follow-up news videos like this, because I don't want to feel like I'm piggybacking on what everybody else is saying, because I certainly don't have access to a lot of sources. I don't get test material or anything like that. I'm just a person who, if I want a video game, I go out and buy it off of the shelf myself. Typically my format is, I'll tell you all about it once I actually have it in my hands and I can test it. That's how I want to show you guys. Like, I want to actually see it for myself, touch it, hold it, taste it, smell it, everything. And then I'll tell you guys exactly what I feel after I've spent some time with the product. But anyway, let's leave the trailer behind for just a second and talk about the games and potential games that could be coming out for the system. So we already know that Zelda is coming out for the system. The trailer showed, and it confused the hell out of me, Skyrim is coming to the system too from Bethesda. Then you got like a Mario Kart, a Mario like world game that seems more in line with like the actual like 3D ones like Galaxy and even Sunshine. And then you've got like NBA 2K17 and then a Splatoon game. And trust me, these have already been talked to death, so I'm not even going to really go into it, but that's good. I mean, that's exciting. I mean, I expected to only see like 1 or 2 titles specifically from Nintendo. Seeing the Skyrim, that was the one that like kind of blew me away the most, because I'm like, well, if they got Skyrim, like what else can they get? So there is a list online, and I'll see if I can't find a picture of it, and I'll put it up like right now so you can see what I'm talking about. And again, this is other people's information. This is the stuff that Nintendo's made very public for everyone, and it's a good list of a nice handful of well-known and respected developers. So there's potential for things like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, things like the Resident Evil games, things like Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts, things like that. I mean, those aren't small titles. So it's very cool. So here's the other thing. So when I look at the system myself, I look at the fact that I've got my 3DS, and I take this basically everywhere with me. So I'm very into the handheld gaming, but then I'm also about gaming at home too. So, I mean, yes, I've got Xbox 360 and the PS4 and everything like that, and that's what I'll predominantly be playing on. But, you know, I'll be watching TV and still playing my 3DS at home. But at the same time, I bring my 3DS with me so that when I'm out, if I'm waiting somewhere, I can play something. Typically, it's just like playing a little bit of Pokemon. But, I mean, I digress. I mean, the fact of the matter is that when I look at this system, I look at a larger, more powerful handheld system that I'm probably going to be taking everywhere with me. I mean, granted, it's not going to fit in my pocket by any means, but, I mean, I already carry a bag to work anyway. I'll just throw it in the backpack. Then there's the fact that, you know, it's just like I can just take it off the dock and then just take it with me and then just put it back on the dock when I get home, and I mean, it's very cool. I wasn't actually going to purchase any of like the remastered Skyrims because like I've already played it. There are very few games that release as a remaster these days that I want to pick up just because I've played them or I still own them and I still have a perfectly good system to play them on. And the only reason why I ever want to pick them up is because they've added something to it that drastically improves the experience or improves the story or something like that. So I wasn't going to pick up Skyrim, but now I actually feel like I'm going to, and if not just to do some sort of review here, to also bring it with me to GameStop, because I guarantee you every time that I work at GameStop, once this thing comes out, until it becomes like better known, because I don't think that we're going to have a demo unit for it, I'll bring it so that customers can actually play with it, see it, experience it, because that's how I would want to be able to see it if I was going to buy something. But mainly just because I'm going to have it with me anyway. But anyway, so that being said, why would I want to buy Skyrim specifically for this? Mainly because it's different. If I want to play Skyrim right now, I either need a good PC or a laptop, or I need a console that can play it. The only one of those that I would consider portable would be a laptop. But even still, if you want to run Skyrim, I mean, you're not going to really... I don't know. You're probably going to be at home running it on a much better PC. I don't see people really going after playing Skyrim on a laptop unless that's what they have, and I can completely understand that. I only have a laptop. I don't game on it because it sucks. But but I don't know. I think it's just the novelty of being able to take it away from home that excites me actually about playing this one. I'll probably end up trying both the I want to call it the Wii, but it's the Switch. I'll try the Switch, and then I'll try the Xbox One version of it just to see how different they are. Because I don't know. I'm curious. I want to look. I want to see. I want to compare. And actually having games on different systems that the Switch is also going to have, that's very exciting too, because actual comparisons can be made, because not every system has Mario Kart. So it's really hard to compare Mod Nation Racers to Mario Kart Wii, because they're completely different games made by completely different people. But when you can actually have the same game side by side, like they do a lot on YouTube, which if you look now, I mean, there's almost no difference. I mean, it's brighter brights, darker darks, and vivid color ranges and things like that. But aside from that, the games run flawlessly on both systems. And if you're running a PC, even that's getting really close to what you're seeing on a console these days. But yeah, so I'm curious. The novelty has definitely got me excited. I mean, I tell you this much: I'm going to be playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at work on my break with that screen sitting in front of me, and I'm going to be holding those two controllers there. I'm going to look like an idiot, but that's exactly what I'm going to do. I promise you that's what I'm going to do. But, okay. Next point. I'm trying to keep myself pretty short and concise, because this is something that I can talk about 4 hours, and I'm even just talking to myself. I'm talking to the camera and talking to you guys, but I mean, this is just me saying things on my own. But next point. Let's just talk about the fact that, I mean, they haven't even touched over the fact that everything that the actual console does. So I'm going to break this part into two. So first part that I want to talk about is the dock itself. So the dock is going to hold the system and transfer that image to the TV while you're playing with the controllers separately from that. It means no second screen. It means that you can't. I mean, you can't just sit there with and you'd be an idiot if you played with the controllers attached to the thing while it was in the dock, and you had a long cable. But basically, it becomes a home console. It is strictly TV. So that means no second screen, which it is kind of nice to have that second screen, but at the same time, it's more traditional. But it also means that while you're at home, you can take it out of the dock and play it anywhere that you are in the house. So it gives you the option of letting people watch TV or watch something else, play something else, while you're playing with the Switch completely independently, which is a lot what I liked about the Wii U. But anyway, what does the dock actually do? My curiosity comes to is there... I mean, there obviously is more processing power inside the dock, that when you put it in there, that's how it's going to have a better resolution, better frame rate, and output, potentially 4K streaming and everything like that onto your TV. But how much power is inside of there compared to what's inside the actual console? I mean, are they capable of doubling the power by putting it in the dock? Does the dock contain a power brick, much like the Xbox One S was able to get rid of theirs? Because traditionally, lately, the Nintendo systems have had an inline power brick that has removed that space from their actual console. I mean, the Wii would have been a bit bigger if it had had the power brick in there, and I think that would have taken away from its actual design factor. So it works, but at the same time, is it going to be contained? Is it going to be just a power cord and the HDMI to go into the system? So I'm curious about that. Another conversation I was having was, if backwards compatibility was a factor, how would they actually arrange it? And on the dock side, would there be a CD tray to allow it to play Wii U games or things like that? But would they even want to associate the Switch with Wii or Wii U, allowing it to play that sort of thing? So that's that. The other part of it is the actual tablet or the Switch controller, like the Joy-Con, like whatever you want to call it. Basically, I mean, for example, I mean, I've got the Wii U gamepad. And so it's a very similar idea. It's just a much cleaner, more industrial looking device where even these are kind of swapped, and then this is going to be broken up into individual buttons rather than actually having the full one. And seeing that you can play like 2-player, it makes sense. I like these because like the movement is a little bit more natural and it doesn't hurt your fingers, because like sometimes with the PlayStation controllers with its divided D-pad, it actually kind of does tear up your fingers a little bit. So I'm just hoping that the buttons have good travel. But anyway, I just wonder like what's the button setup going to be like? I mean, does it have touch controls? That's another thing. I don't know if they'll go into it. I'm okay if they don't, but I kind of like the idea of having some sort of touch functionality, because that's what we get used to with having smartphones and tablets and touchscreen computers, and even after playing the Wii U or the 3DS, you get kind of used to actually physically touching the system. Questions that I have specifically about this is, number one, I know that the cartridge slot is located over here. It has like the breathing fan room over here. I don't know if there's necessary. I mean, they're talking about like putting like CD cartridge in here, and I'm like, no, I doubt that it's going to take CDs. If anything, the most thing that I'm curious about is how big are those cartridges? Are they at any way close to or resemble 3DS cartridge shapes? And again, it's just like, I saw that little clip in the trailer, and I'm like, I want to know more about it. I'm excited for cartridges. I think that it works perfectly fine for the method. So there's that part of it, and then it comes to the controllers itself. So if you look at the Wii U controller, you've got the plus minus, power button, obviously, the face buttons, D-pad, and the 2 thumbsticks, but then you also have these 2 buttons here. I have to imagine that the Joy-Cons will have a similar button set, but then I wonder, with those 2 people that were playing Mario Kart in the back of the car, when they were holding like this little thing, how do they drift? I mean, is there like hidden shoulder buttons on the back of those things, or is it relegated to like a face button? So that's a point of curiosity. And then I'll put a picture of this as best as I can if I find one. It's got the thumbstick, the D-pad, the face buttons, and the other thumbstick on this side, but then it's also got plus and minus, which I think are pretty explainable. I think they're just basically the plus and minus buttons that you see right here. But then underneath it, right here, this is the thing that I've not seen anyone talk about yet. Like, I swear to God, I watched so many videos, no one's talking about it. There's a square button, and there's a circle button. And they look basically the same as these 2 buttons do, but I want to know what the hell they do. There's rumors of share functionality and things like that, which I think would be fantastic. If I'm able to stream through Twitch using the Switch, I think that would be great too, because there's so many Nintendo games that I want to play. But anyway, so curiosity is really the name of the game. I'm also curious about price. I do want to know what it's capable of. I do want to know if there is any backwards compatibility. I mean, will they do digital downloads of previous released games through the eShop? I don't see that changing very much. I think their eShop is perfectly fine the way that it is. I'm just curious. Very, very, very curious. So anyway, I'm just going to wrap this up by saying that overall, I think that my excitement level, it is there, but at the same time, I feel a little bit underwhelmed, only because the things that were said today, it's not like we didn't already know them, which is, it's sad. I mean, it's internet culture with all the leaks and everything, and how easy it is to find out any bit of this information just by people like looking for patents and talking to people and hearing things here and there. I mean, it's very easy for things like this to be leaked out. And it's not that I'm saying that that's a bad thing, but sometimes it really does spoil everything. I mean, with Pokemon Sun and Moon that are coming out now, because of the demo, they data mined it, and basically they know exactly, how many Pokemon are going to be in the game, which is kind of crazy, but at the same time, it's to be expected with the level of technology that we're dealing with. But anyway, I digress. I am excited. I'm going to get one. I will pre-order one as soon as humanly possible. Because I guarantee you I'll be doing an unboxing of the thing. I'll be playing it, I'll be taking it with me, I'll be showing it to people, I'll be talking to people about it. But I also want your opinion. What do you think about it? I mean, how would you gauge your own excitement level? I mean, would you pick it up? I mean, do you want to try it out before you actually get it? It's not as scary as what I would say VR would be to get into. I think that the thing's only going to cost like $300, $350. I mean, I feel like they're going to do a bundle with Zelda. But I don't know. It's like, it seems approachable, and it doesn't seem like it's super gimmicky. I mean, the gimmick is definitely the taking it with you and putting it on the dock and everything like that, but it's not a weird gimmick. I mean, this is one of those gimmicks that makes sense. And I think the thing that game companies like Microsoft and Sony are going to have a discussion about is if Nintendo can actually get support from these third-party developers and get games like Skyrim to take on the go, what's to stop them from taking like Grand Theft Auto and taking it on the go too? I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, it's a discussion about gaming that goes into a completely different part of the world where most people are sitting in front of their TVs playing their game. Other people can just be taking their game elsewhere, meeting up with people in a park and playing multiplayer right there. So, yeah. Basically, no longer having to be tethered to your home or your TV. I mean, way to go, Nintendo. I mean, this is kind of cool. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. Like this video if you like what I had to say. Dislike it if you don't like what I have to say. I mean, this goes either way. I mean, there's going to be people that are for this or against it completely. And I completely understand that. I mean, gaming isn't for everybody, and not every type of game isn't for everybody either. But yeah, subscribe to get updates on my channel as to when I post more stuff. And I guarantee you, when I actually get my hands on that stuff, I'll share that with you guys too. Anyway, have a great night. See you later. Bye-bye. Truth be told, I think I actually like the name NX a little bit better. But Switch isn't that bad. I mean, they're definitely trying to switch it up. I purposely stayed away from any sort of pun. Because there definitely were a few.